Hello, I'm Lauren Green, Fox News chief religion correspondent. There's a lot of trash talking going on between President Obama and presumptive presidential nominee Donald Trump over Muslims and what they do or don't believe. Well, it's a good time to revisit a Pew survey of Muslim attitudes about their own religion and how they see it fitting into society in general. There are 1.6 billion Muslims in the world, and the majority of them, 1.1 billion, believe Sharia should be the law of the land in their country. Sharia is the name of the moral and ethical principles laid out in the Muslim holy book, the Quran. It governs all aspects of life. And moderate Muslims complain that radical Islamists are fighting to establish a theocracy where there's no separation between religion and state. And of particular interest in the West is that in key Muslim countries with close ties to the U.S., the percentage in favor of Sharia is much higher than the average. In Afghanistan, 99%. In Iraq, 91%. In Palestinian territories, 89%. Even in the secular government-led country of Egypt, support for Sharia is 74%. Well, despite the Quran saying there's no coercion in religion, more than a third of Muslims, 584 million, support the death penalty for those who would leave the Muslim faith. And again, the numbers are higher in some of the closest U.S. allies in the Middle East and South Asia, 86% of Egyptians, 76% of Pakistanis. However, it's not so widely believed in other regions. For instance, in Tunisia, fewer than 1 in 6 support the death penalty for leaving Islam. Now, sexual sins are some of the most highly condemned. An overwhelming majority of Muslims, more than 3/4, believe homosexuality is morally wrong. And in some Muslim countries, there's a death penalty for homosexual behavior, including in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Iran. Adultery is also frowned upon, and 748 million Muslims support or at least excuse the death penalty for that moral crime. And women are seen as the subject of their husbands. A whopping 1.3 billion Muslims believe a wife's duty is to obey her husband. And premarital sex, well, about 60% condemn it. Another infraction is the consumption of alcohol. A strong majority of Muslims believe it is morally wrong, although it is quietly tolerated in some countries like Pakistan and the Palestinian territories. The question we're all faced with in the wake of a terror attack is why the majority of Muslims, if they are peaceful, why there is so much terror from a small few who, like President Obama and others have said, hijacked a peaceful religion. Experts I've talked with say it's a simple numbers game. There are 1.6 billion Muslims in the world. If just 1% were radicalized, that would be more than 1.5 million people. And as we've seen in Orlando, Florida, it takes only one deranged person to wreak incredible violence and tragedy. But the question remains, why would a religion of peace become a breeding ground for such violence? Now, President Obama argues the flaw is in the people, while Donald Trump, in calling for banning Muslims from entry into the U.S., is tacitly making the case that the religion itself is at fault. Well, I'll let you be the judge.